So I'm going to simplify the display just a little bit by taking the image plane out, and let's hide the deformers right now, and even maybe not show the joints through the x-ray. Okay, so there's my curve, there's my skeleton. Let's look at some things we can do with that. So one of the focuses, or one of the elements we animate, is extension and flexion of the lumbar portion of the vertebral column. So how can I do that? Let's go to two windows real quick. So I'll take layout, panels, layouts. We go two panes side by side, and I'm going to use the for right now I'm going to go with side over here, and I'm actually going to do the same thing over here. Okay, in this one I'm going to get rid of everything except the curve and CVs, and I'm also going to show deformers, which is kind of annoying because I'm going to see all those little cluster handles. Okay, and it's really kind of a pain to go through. Oh, you know what? Let's do this here. I got an idea. Let's hide the curve for a second. And select all those clusters, and then hit the letter H to hide them. Now let's show the curve and the surface, but I still have show deformers here, so I want to use a deformer. That's why I want to get everything out of the way. Okay, now what I'm going to do with the curve selected, I'm going to add a deformer to it. I'm going to take a nonlinear bend deformer. Okay, now if I hit the letter T for the transform tool and I try to move this point, you notice it's not doing anything because the position of the deformer is not quite where I want it. Let me just change this window real quickly to perspective window. And let's get rid of the grid for a second. So if I grab that deformer handle, see what it's doing is you can't see it from the side window, but what's happening is it's actually bending the entire curve in the z-axis. So what we'll do is we'll change that back to 1 or 0. Let's see. Oh, we can't change that back. It's curvature right here. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's where it begins with. What I'm going to do is grab the bend deformer. If I can find it real quick. There we go, the bend handle. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that it's giving me what I want. And I always double check that I'm rotating, I think, in the right plane that way. Let's see. Okay, so now you can see I'm rotating in the or the curve is bending in the x-axis. So let's turn this back to the side so it parallels what we're doing. Okay, so obviously now we don't want to do the entire vertebral column. We just want to do the lumbar. So I've got the bend handle selected, and I'm going to move it down so that the actual transform area, this piece, is now at the base. Okay. And then I take, usually what I've done is taken the lower bound, which is this other dot, and I raise it right up there. And then the upper bound, I'm going to lower it down a little bit more so it's right around where the lumbar vertebrae are. And then I should be able to see, so now I'm bending almost exclusively at the lumbar. And I wish I could do that, but I can't. And you can experiment to see you know, what works best for you. Sometimes moving this, the actual position of the bend deformer helps. Other things that help is you can change, you know, where you put the upper bound. You can also obviously move this up or down. So we kind of get into like a pretty reasonable position. Okay. So that's one way of controlling that IK handle and having it letting you do something like touching your toes or some other exercise, or just to demonstrate flexion and extension like we saw in the video. Okay.